Hey, how's it going guys? This is Dave 2D and I want to do an update video on the Razer Blade Stealth. So this is the original Razer Blade Stealth. Came out around 8 or 9 months ago. Fantastic device. It's actually one of my top picks for Ultrabooks in 2016. And this is the new one. It's updated with Kaby Lake from Intel. It's got 16 gigs of RAM, or you can get up to 16 gigs of RAM. That's what this one's rocking. And the third thing is it's got an improved battery. The exterior hasn't changed at all. It's really prone to fingerprints and it's also prone to nicks. I actually put a skin on this one. It's been used by a lot of different people over the past 8 or 9 months, but when you have a skin, it just protects it. If you care about the finish of these laptops, I highly recommend getting a skin on it. These are from D brand. They have ones that even cover the logo if you want to get rid of it. Now, the build quality is still awesome. If you watch my first video, you can kind of see the details as to why I like it so much, but the short of it is this. These laptops are built really well. I would consider them equals to something like the XPS line from Dell or the MacBooks from Apple. These are just really, really well built. The display options are unchanged, and so are all of the external features. So the speakers, the keyboard, the trackpad, the ports. If you want to learn more about those, you can check the original review. On the inside, one of the things that they haven't changed is the drive. So they're still using the Samsung PM951 drive. It's an okay drive. I don't love it, mostly because at the lower capacities, the read speeds are okay, but the write speeds are really slow, and I don't love that, especially for a PCIe drive. I really wish that they had upgraded to something a little bit faster this time. They haven't. The 16 gigs of RAM is nice, but keep in mind that you have to configure this at the time of ordering. You can't bring it home and upgrade it because the RAM is still soldered on. The battery's been upgraded. We'll talk about that in more details later, but the big thing is the Kaby Lake processor. It's now running an i7-7500U. The Kaby Lake version is faster. It's not supersonic or anything, but everything just feels a little bit snappier. It's not a huge difference, but it is noticeable. As for the differences in terms of RAM, that is where I feel is the biggest difference. 16 gigs of RAM is really nice. For me, I use Chrome a lot, and if you have a lot of tabs open, there is a difference between an 8 and a 16 gig model. And also if you're doing video edits, the 16 gigs of RAM is much more spacious, viable video editing environment. And the third thing, I hate to use this term, is future-proofing. Not that it really exists, but you're gonna get further into the future with 16 gigs of RAM than 8 gigs of RAM. The Razer Blade Stealth was never great at playing games to begin with, at least not until you tethered it with the Razer Core, but if you're gaming on the integrated graphics, the new HD 620 is around 10%, maybe 15% faster than the older HD 520. So lighter games like CSGO and Dota 2, you'll be able to play them. You won't get amazing frame rates, you're not gonna be like MLG or anything, but it is a smoother experience with the HD 620. In general though, it's gonna be a noticeable improvement, it's just not a huge improvement. Thermally, they're pretty similar. The Kaby Lake is cooler on idle and a little bit cooler even on load, which is nice, but they're not that different. In terms of actual use and comfort, I wouldn't really notice a difference between the two if I was just using them on my lap without a thermal cam. The other thing is noise. Fan noise is about the same between them, but because it has a more efficient chip, fans kick in less frequently on the Kaby Lake version. It's the new one, right? It better be that way. If you connect the Razer Blade Stealth to the Razer Core, you can get a huge improvement in gaming performance, depending on the card that you have inside there. But I tried using the GTX 1080, fantastic card, but there was no real difference between the Kaby Lake version and the Skylake version. Both of them played games at extremely good frame rates, but at that point, most of the work is being done by the GPU. The actual Kaby Lake chipset isn't improving gaming performance that much. But one of the really cool things that Kaby Lake does have is hardware encoding and decoding of some video codecs, in particular V9 and H.265. Complicated stuff, but basically things like Netflix and YouTube, when they push high quality video to you, your computer has to decode that stuff to be able to display it. And now that decoding is done on the chip. So it uses very little CPU power, you're getting less fan noise and longer battery life. Now that leads me to my favorite part about the Kaby Lake Stealth. The battery life. So the old version on the Skylake chip, you're getting around 5.5 to 6 hours of battery life. Reasonable, kind of short in the Ultrabook market, but still acceptable considering what it is. This version, 7.5 to 8 hours. Partially because of the Kaby Lake chip, it's a little more energy efficient, but it's also a bigger battery. So 7.5, 8 hours is really nice because to me, 8 hours is like the threshold for when you don't have to bring your charger to work or school because it'll last you the full day. And I really like that. So overall, fantastic device to begin with. It's even better with the upgrades. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. It's been nice. I'll see you guys next time.